Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel. And welcome to this modern horror movie review video as part of my current series where I'm taking a look at horror movies in my collection from the last that were released in the last 15 years or so, but I have yet to watch and certainly review. So, with that being said, the movie we're going to take a look at today is from my Scream Factory collection IFC movie. This is a movie I've had in my collection for a while, and like a lot of movies, haven't watched or reviewed it yet. But it's a movie I absolutely love. I had a blast watching it, and that is from 2016, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. So yeah, you can see there's the front, there's the back. See it, but not alone, according to Stephen King. That's the quote back there. My favorite tagline of this movie, of course, is "Every body has a secret." So anyway, let's just go ahead and get into The Autopsy of Jane Doe from 2016. So The Autopsy of Jane Doe is a 2016 supernatural horror film directed by Andre Overdahl as his first English language film. It stars Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch as father and son coroners who experience supernatural phenomena while examining the body of an unidentified woman. In Grantham County, Virginia, the sheriff department finds the intact, half-buried corpse of an unidentified Jane Doe in the basement of a house where an inexplicable multi-homicide took place. No signs of forced entry are found, and it's determined that the victims were trying to escape the house where the killings took place. Jane's corpse is delivered to a morgue staffed by local coroner Tommy Tilden and his son Austin. Austin postpones a date with his girlfriend Emma to help his father with the autopsy, promising to meet her later that evening. Jane's waist indicates long-term usage of corset, which went out of fashion several centuries earlier. Usage of a corset, I should say, which went out of fashion several centuries earlier. They cannot determine her time of death. Her lack of rigor mortis and blood still flowing in her veins indicates that her death occurred recently, but her eyes are cloudy, suggesting she had been dead for several days. Despite no external signs of trauma, her wrist and ankle bones are shattered, her tongue has been severed, one of her molars is missing, her lungs are blackened, and her organs reveal numerous stab wounds. Jimson weed, a paralyzing agent native to New England, is found in her stomach. The radio spontaneously begins changing stations. Austin sees people standing in the main corridor and goes to investigate, finding their cat, Stanley, mortally wounded. Tommy mercifully kills and reluctantly incinerates Stanley. So yeah, that's the mouthful of setup, premise, the beginning of The Autopsy of Jane Doe. By the way, if you see flickering lights in the background, which you probably just did, it's because I'm recording this when it's extremely windy where I am in the Midwest today on Friday the 13th, no less. Happy Friday the 13th to everybody out there. But just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention in case you see anything weird in the background. As far as the cast goes, you have Emile Hirsch as Austin Tilden, Brian Cox as Tommy Tilden, Ophelia Lovebond as Emma Roberts, and Owen Kelly as Jane Doe. A very small cast to this movie. But anyway, that's the setup, the premise, and the cast for the 2016 horror movie, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. As I said, I absolutely love this movie. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than just getting into the things that I love about The Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's a movie I had a feeling that I would love based on what I'd heard about it and kind of the setup of it, having not seen it. But man, having seen it, I love it even more than I thought I would. So let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the pros. And I love the premise. And not just the premise, but the sort of narrative storytelling tool that they use to tell the story. It's very unique and had me engaged from the jump. I'm going to try to be spoiler free because even though this movie's been out for 10 years, there might still be some people like myself that haven't seen it yet. But they use a certain tool in this movie to tell the story, which I haven't seen before in any other horror movie. Whether it exists or not elsewhere, I'm not sure, but I just love the way that the narrative was told in this, with this story in this movie. It's a great mystery overall as they peel back the layers to it, literally. They peel back layers that tells the story here. And it progresses in a very well-paced and effective way. Yeah, there's just... I was enthralled by the mystery of what was going on and how it was being told. It's just so brilliant. It was just so well done. So well conceived across the board. And yeah, everything about the story I really love here, from the story itself and the big... well, the twist towards the end, not the big twist, but the twist towards the end, how it's executed, and as I said earlier, how it's presented, is just, it all works for me. The atmosphere and the tone throughout this movie is incredibly creepy and effective, starting off with the setting of this movie, which already is creepy on the surface, because unless you're somebody that works in a mortuary, having it be set in a morgue and having dead bodies in the background throughout, and then adding the sound design and the dark, eerie score that they have in this movie, it really makes for an overall engaging experience and a very effective atmospheric experience. And it just had me from go, and throughout the movie, it never really lost me. So yeah, I can't speak high enough about the atmosphere and just the overall feeling of dread. Feeling dread for our main characters here in this movie. It's just so well done. I loved how the movie started and ended in the same kind of way, and how that leads to sort of this potential repeating loop. And I don't want to say anything more than that, but if you know the movie, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It starts with a crime scene and it ends with a crime scene, and then kind of gives you a hint that there might be another crime scene in the future. And I just love that whole loop, if you will. I thought that was very well done. It really worked for me. Outstanding performances by Emile Hirsch and Brian Cox, Brian Cox is one of the best actors of our generation. He really is. I haven't seen a bad performance by him in anything, and I love him in horror. You know, whether it be Trick or Treat or The Ring, or this movie, he just knocks it out of the park in each and every one, and other movies as well, in other genres. But Emile Hirsch impressed me as well in this movie, and I thought their father-son duo, they had great chemistry. They just worked together so well. There's a realism between them, and there's just enough of a backstory with them individually and together as a family, to make it work without taking away from the Jane Doe aspect of the movie here, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just love those two characters. They were easy to root for. They were very well written, very well acted. Like I said, there was a bond and a chemistry between those two that they really did feel like father and son. It didn't feel like they were acting as father and son, and that's about the highest compliment I can give. I haven't even got into how good the movie looks. That should tell you everything you need to know about my love for this movie. But the movie looks fantastic, amazing. I love the way that it was shot, how it continually focuses on Jane Doe's face, those grayed out sort of eyes, as well as the camera angles and how it's shot throughout the mortuary, like these long, dark hallways and the use of shadow and light that they use. And that actually plays to a scene towards the end of the movie where they have an axe in their hand, and there's like a figure that's coming towards them that they finally, as they're getting into the elevator, they use on that figure. But again, this is a supernatural movie, so remember that. That's as much as I'm going to say about it. But yeah, it's so well produced of a movie. It really is. So I really love the way that it's shot and how it looks. Outstanding cinematography. And then, of course, you got to talk about the directing. I haven't seen anything else done by Andre Overdahl, although I heard that he did Troll Hunter, which I haven't seen. I think that's a found footage movie. But his directing in this movie, I think he already had a really solid script with obviously solid performers. But he directs the hell out of this movie. From, like I said, from the way it's shot to the sound design to the score. They also insert a song Kind of like 1408, which, if you know me, you know it's a movie that I really love, the Stephen King adaptation with John Cusack, where we've only just begun. Comes up a lot. In this movie, it's So Let the Sun Shine In. And they're not exactly songs that you would think would go with the movies that they're in, but going forward, just like with 1408, when I hear the song, I think of the movie now, and that's about as brilliant as it gets from a movie making standpoint. And it's definitely going to be the case here, where that's the song that broke in on the radio that they had playing in the mortuary. And then there's also at the end in an ambulance, too. But it's just so well directed. I mean, Andre Overdahl did a fantastic job. And talk about showing his range and ability, directing ability is the biggest thing that comes to mind. It's a gory movie, but not in the way that you think. If you're a fan of gore, this is more from a medical standpoint. Is they're coroners, so they're peeling back the layers of skin and body and everything from the head down to they do the incision down the center of the body, and then they peel back like the rib spreader and all that. So it's very realistic. I mean, it's something. It looks like what you'd actually see if you were in a hospital or in a mortuary or something like that a coroner actually examines. So it's gory from that standpoint. There's blood and things like that, but like I said, it's more in a medical context, not like a zombie getting their head blown off or something, or a person getting eaten by a zombie or something like that from a gore standpoint. So just keep that in mind, but know that it's definitely not a bloodless, goreless movie. So they do very well with that too. So yeah, just so many pros and things that I love about the Autopsy of Jane Doe from 2016. I could probably find more, frankly, if I really wanted to, but those are the big ones that really stood out to me. As far as cons go, these are nitpicks. I had to search for them, which pretty much should tell you everything you need to know about how great a movie is for me. But they do kind of figure things out a bit easy. Like the conclusions that they reach, which are the right conclusions. And this is kind of a thing, a general thing that you find in a lot of movies, horror movies and others, where we got to have the characters figure it out and explain it to the audience quicker than I think it would happen in real life. Now, I know they have a lot of like books and stuff that they pull from research that they do at this mortuary. But I just kind of thought that one of the characters particularly figures things out a little too quickly, a little too easily, kind of jumps to those conclusions, which happen to be right. The other character doubts it at first, but then ultimately is on board with it. I don't know. I just felt like, again, it's part of that movie making, we've got to move things forward sort of plot contrivance. And then I do think that there's some unanswered questions. There's questions that are brought up that are interesting but are never answered. And that's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, it allows the audience to kind of fill in the blanks, if you will, and that works for some movies, but I could have used a little bit more explanation or a few more answers here. And I'm talking about as it relates to the Jane Doe cadaver, if you will. There's a lot that's set up and questions asked, answers not given, though. I don't know if they were trying to set it up for if they were going to do a sequel to this movie. I doubt that they are now, because it's been 10 years and I haven't heard a sniff about a sequel to the Autopsy of Jane Doe. But if they wanted to leave that out there for a future movie to answer some of those questions, or if they never intended to answer them and it's more just left up for interpretation, it didn't bother me to the point that it hurt the movie. I think it might for some other people that might want more answers, like how this Jane Doe came to be, and why is this stuff happening. That's as much as I want to say. Again, I don't want to give away spoilers as much as I can help it, even though it's been out for 10 years. But yeah, those are my little con nitpicks, if you will. Certainly not enough to damage the movie, in my view. I'm going to give The Autopsy of Jane Doe a 9.5 out of 10. It's almost a perfect movie. Like I said, just the contrivances and those unanswered questions that I thought could have used a little bit more answering. Not all of them, but maybe just a little bit more time spent on that. Because it's only an 87-minute movie, so they had time to go another 10 minutes or so if they really wanted to. But it's as close to a perfect horror movie, especially in the 2010s, that you're going to get. And so this kind of horror just works for me. That atmospheric tension, the way the story is unfolding and split open, literally. It's just my kind of horror movie. So 9.5 out of 10 for The Autopsy of Jane Doe from 2016. Go ahead and comment down below your guys' thoughts on this movie. Do you like it as much or less? Why not? Put your reasons down in the comments below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It'll really help me out for the future of my channel content going forward. But with all that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying my modern horror movie review series. Thank you for watching. And as always, stay scared. Happy Friday the 13th to everybody. Bye.